Inside the Association mock draft special. I am Dave Ross. He is Cameron Smith, and I know you've been ready for this day for a long time. How excited are you?
Dave, you know me. I'm ready for this, to see these young men trying to achieve their dreams of transitioning to the NBA. We could see some potential NBA future stars.
Yeah, cannot wait to figure out who you're going to take. And over the next hour, we're going to get you all ready for this NBA draft. We're going to go all over the country to preview each team in the lottery and make picks for all 14 franchises. Now, there will be no trades in our draft, so each team will be forced to pick in the slot that they've landed. That doesn't mean we won't talk about potential trades that could happen. Cam, we're going to have a whole lot of fun this hour, but we need a little bit of help. We're going to get that help right now from our guy, Jeff Goodman, who I know is also very excited for this NBA draft. Jeff, first of all, I know you've been putting this draft together for quite some time. How good is this draft and how deep is it?
No, it's really deep. That's the strength of this year's draft. If you're Gerson Rosas picking number one for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you've got a dilemma here. The top of the draft, not nearly as strong as it's been in recent years, but overall, the depth of this draft, that's what makes it attractive to so many NBA general managers.
Now, obviously, last year, Zion was the easy pick. He was the slam dunk pick. Everybody was excited about him. There doesn't appear to be that guy in this draft. But, Jeff, give me a guy that could be a breakout star.
Well, listen, we'll start with LaMelo Ball. I've seen him play since he was a freshman at high school. I went to Lithuania to watch him play professionally. He's come a long way since then. His defense still needs work. His shot still needs work. But what he does have is something that you just can't teach, and that's the same thing that his oldest brother Lonzo has. Innate passing ability and court vision. The shot will get better. Hopefully he'll be at a place where they can teach him how to defend, but ultimately his ceiling is incredibly high because he's 6'7", with that type of passing ability and court vision.
Jeff, all I know is you're also very big in Lithuania and also big right here in the United States. Don't go anywhere. Much more with you throughout this show. The Timberwolves are picking first overall in the NBA draft for the second time in franchise history. The team took Karl Anthony Towns with the top pick back in 2015. Now, Minnesota traded for Towns' good buddy D'Angelo Russell this past February, and the numbers after the deal, not so good. 4-10 with a defensive rating north of 117 and a net rating of negative 5.3 points per 100 possessions. To take a closer look at what the T-Wolves might do at number one, he is our NBA insider and a man that's more connected than anybody in the association. Shams Charania, always great to catch up with you, my friend. Let's talk about the T-Wolves at one. What are you hearing about the possibilities of what they might do with this pick?
So, Dave, the Timberwolves are really looking in three different directions with this number one overall pick. The first being potentially moving it for star players such as Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, someone along those lines, I'm told. But again, the feasibility of that is unknown. Bradley Beal is content in Washington right now. Devin Booker's content in Phoenix. So the feasibility of actually moving that number one pick for a player that deserves it looks unlikely. The second route is really focusing on two guys, Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball, and seeing if either of those two will be a fit. And really third, potentially moving down, going to a pick like number 6 in Atlanta, and focusing on a guy like Tyrese Halliburton at 6. And so the possibilities could be endless with Minnesota at number one.
Yeah, Shams, I know your phone's going to be off the hook here. What are you hearing? Do you anticipate a lot of draft day trades as we normally see? Is it going to be a higher volume than normal or less than the average?
I do expect there to be a ton of movement because these teams, GMs, executives have been sitting on their hands for really the entire year. And so to now finally be able to have a window to make trades, make moves to better their teams, I think these guys are going to be active. I think there will be a flurry of moves on draft night, around draft night, and into free agency as well.
The hardest working man in basketball, Shams Charania. Always a pleasure to catch up, my friend. Appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, Cam, you've heard the analysis of Shams and what the T-Wolves might do with that number one pick. Now, remember, you can't trade, so you got to make the pick at number one. Who you taking?
Well, let me throw on my Gerson Rosas jacket right now, the president of basketball ops for the Timberwolves. And if I'm Gerson, I am going with Anthony Edwards with that number one pick because you're talking about a guy that's one of the best, if not the best scorers in the draft, especially at that guard position. He's built like a grown man, 6'5", only 19 years old. And this is a guy that can get to the bucket in a hurry, especially in transition. You match him with D'Angelo Russell in the backcourt, you have a problem for a lot of opposing teams. And don't forget, Karl Anthony Towns is on the low block and also can stretch things out with the shot. So this is a group that could be a nasty three-headed monster given some time and the experience together.
All right, Jeff Goodman, what do you think of Cam's pick there as a GM?
You know, I don't love it, but I don't love any of them at this point. You know, Anthony Edwards shot 40% from the field, 29% from three, and his team absolutely stunk last year as a freshman at Georgia. Now, having said that, I don't love LaMelo Ball, but I would take him number one.
All right, very interesting. But the number one pick is in the books for the T-Wolves. So says GM Cameron Smith. When you look at the Golden State Warriors in the Steve Kerr era, this past season is definitely the outlier. After 5 straight trips to the NBA Finals, the Warriors were decimated by injuries. In this past season, they stumbled to a league-worst 15-50 record and didn't even qualify for the bubble. They get the number 2 pick in this year's lottery. Should they keep it? Well, we asked Doug Gottlieb.
This is a team that is in championship mode. They basically took a year off, and now they're preparing to try and fix their roster as they fix their bodies, and they've had the longest offseason in the history of basketball. They want to win and win now, and with this draft class specifically, and more likely draft classes to come, they're so young that they're not really going to help you compete at the end of this NBA season. So, yeah, you consider, and there's no surefire number 1 pick. There's no surefire number 2 pick. You consider all possibilities. And if trading down or trading out of the first round of the NBA draft helps you, so be it. I think there's some players that would fit their culture and fit their program, but I would definitely consider trading down at least first, trading out secondly, and making the pick third. Depends on how strong your convictions are on the draft.
All right, gentlemen, you heard Doug Gottlieb, squarely on the fence here for this second pick. Now, Jeff Goodman, you cannot trade again. You've got to draft number 2. If you're Bob Myers, who are you taking?
I think it's a complete no-brainer for Bob Myers. You got to take James Wiseman. 7-1, runs the court so well. You got Steph, you got Clay back, you got Draymond, you got Andrew Wiggins. Listen, James Wiseman, what he can do, run the court extremely well, finish, block shots, alter shots. He's going to get better in the offensive end, but they don't need him to score with all that firepower. So James Wiseman, to me, the absolute no-brainer here.
I absolutely love it. There is no hedging there from our own Jeff Goodman. He's off the fence. James Wiseman goes to Golden State at number 2. While the Warriors are in the lottery for the very first time under Steve Kerr, the Hornets find themselves in very familiar territory. Charlotte has missed the playoffs in each of the last 4 seasons, and after losing Kemba Walker to Boston, the Hornets won just 23 games. But each of their top 4 leading scorers is 26 or younger, so there's plenty of room to grow. Here's Hornets legend Del Curry on what Charlotte is expecting out of the player that goes number 3.
You're fortunate to have that number 3 pick, and hopefully you get a guy that can come in and make an impact and influence on your team right away. He's going to have to earn his minutes. James Brago has really made a big influence in that locker room. We have a young team, but the locker room is steady, solid. A lot of guys who are play well beyond their years and know how to prepare themselves night in and night out to play the game. The young guys want to continue with their career, get better. So the young guy, the 3rd pick, is going to have to come in and earn his minutes. But he's going to be in a scenario where guys will help him. Hopefully he can come in and make an influence, like I said, and be a productive player. With the scenario with the NBA this year, he's going to have to hit the ground running and kind of soak up everything in a short period of time. But hopefully he's doing his homework right now, whoever that number 3 pick is, on the teams that he may be selected to, so he can get somewhat of an advanced scouting of the team that he's going to enter. But hopefully he can come in, earn his minutes, make the team better, while learning the league, the players, and everything that the NBA is about.
All right, gentlemen, so you hear from the great Del Curry. He basically says you got to earn that playing spot, whoever is drafted at 3. Cam, you're on the clock. Who's the 3rd pick in the NBA draft?
Well, Del Curry is right. You got to earn that spot, and LaMelo Ball earns that spot for the Charlotte Hornets. This is a guy at 6'7" that is totally gifted with the basketball in his hands, whether it's scoring, but especially passing the ball. And you talk about guards like Terry Rozier and also Devontae Graham on that team. They can play together in the backcourt, have LaMelo with the basketball or on the wing. They'll be able to complement each other nicely. Small sample size in his time in Australia in the NBL, but this is a guy that is tailor-made for the NBA game.
And we know Jeff Goodman's liked him ever since he was 14. I think Charlotte's going to like him. LaMelo Ball going to Charlotte at number 3 overall. All right, 3 picks down into this Inside the Association mock draft special. Here's who's been picked so far. Chicago Bulls, you are on the clock. But first, got to